Howdy there, I'm Jeff Mulvey. I'm the founder and principal software engineer of TipJar. I'm not one to talk about myself a lot, but this video will be my one exception. TipJar's story starts with this young man. That's me, 20 years ago. Back then I was the whiz kid, which is a nice way of saying that my technical skills were way more developed than my social skills. Yes, I was the living, breathing stereotype of a computer nerd. That nerdiness started at the age of 5 when my parents bought a computer for our family. It was called a Laser 2000. This was back when PCs didn't have hard drives and the number 2000 made things sound futuristic. We only had a few very primitive games, but I loved it every bit as much as today's kids love their tablets. I tried my hand at programming for the first time a couple years later when I came across an article with some source code. It was supposed to make an arrow shoot across the screen. You couldn't control it or anything, it just went across the screen. Except mine didn't even do that. Somehow it split in two and made a big mess of everything. I didn't know anything about debugging back then, so that was the end of that experiment. The passion had been sparked, though. I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. Through middle and high school, I was taking every computer class available, and I even took some night classes at the local community college before I graduated. But there was a little twist to the dream. My older brother's favorite football coach taught accounting, and my mother is a bookkeeper. So, on a whim, I took an intro to accounting class. I was hooked. Over the next few years, I took every accounting class that Mr. V taught, which was actually quite a few, and then I went to college to get an MBA. But then about a week after I set foot on campus, I got an offer from a local company asking me to help them write accounting software. It was the perfect marriage of my two passions, so that was the end of my college days. I started TipJar's predecessor as a side project a little while later. You can learn more about that in the video about our journey. On a personal level, my lack of social skills caused a number of problems for me back then. And in all honesty, it wasn't doing any favors for my professional life either. If you knew me back then, I hope you can forgive me for being so rough around the edges. My pappy always said that nothing will change a man's perspective faster than the birth of a child. He wasn't kidding. Here's baby Oliver, and here he is on the verge of manhood. When he was born, I took stock of my life and realized I needed more balance. The days of spending 16 straight hours at a keyboard were over, and I started expanding my social life. Before long, I was actively involved in my community through the school's PTO, the city's Parks and Rec Board, and the local Rotary Club. Through these organizations, I've been able to give back to the world that has given me so much, and they've given me the opportunity to grow beyond my one-dimensional youth. Two birds with one beautiful stone. TipJar is the same way. Do you think that baby-faced nerd at the beginning would ever stand in front of a camera like this? No way. Even 5 years ago, it was completely unthinkable. So, you keep helping me with my personal growth, and I'll keep doing everything I can to help you serve your kids. I think it's a wonderful win-win scenario. And for those of you who haven't used TipJar yet, please reach out. We'd love to help you serve your kids.